What's going on YouTube? ThunderPrince09 coming at you now with a UA deck profile ready to go for the November 2015 format. This is going to be a little unusual because I've seen a lot of other UA deck profiles, so I'd like to think mine's way more different than the other ones you guys have seen on YouTube. So instead of talking about it, let's just get down right to it. Before we start, you should know, I'm going to be recording this in a different way than you would normally see deck profiles. Pretty poor, can't afford a camera or with a tripod to look down at the cards, so I'm going to have to hold them up best way I can to show it to you guys, alright? So, let's get to it. I'm going to start with the beefy monsters, work my way down, and then we'll go through the spell and traps. You should know that in this deck, I'm only running 13 monsters, so I'm running a pretty big risk with the playstyle that I have pretty much gone through to put this deck together. So let's get to it. Starting off with 1, Dreadnought Dunker. This guy can pretty much pierce. If he pierces, you get to pop a card. So it's pretty nice. And it's one of the beefiest monsters that we have. I don't like the level 8, so I don't think a lot of other UA players like level 8, but that's pretty much boss right there. Next up, the UA Blockbacker. This guy is not only a beefy wall, but he's pretty much a lose a turn on legs. Once per turn during either player's turn, if your opponent special summons a monster, switches their defense and negates the effects permanently. So that's pretty nice. Next up, a card that I had underestimated before, but now I'm running 2, is 2 Rival Rebounders. I know people run this maybe at 3. I like 2. I think it's a pretty balanced number, but I'm going to admit, at first I only ran it at 1, or I didn't run it at all, but like I said, it grew on me, so I run it at 2. Just the fact that when he's normal, you get an extra monster from your hand or from your graveyard, or if it's special summoned during your opponent's turn, you also get a monster from your hand or from your graveyard, so that's nice. Next up is a card that's underrated by a lot of UA players, the Goalkeeper. I mean, with 2800 defense that can protect itself or any other UA monster, makes it a pretty tough card to deal with. Next up, this is where I feel a lot of people will differentiate with what I'm doing, but I'm only running 1 Mighty Slugger. And don't go crazy on me, but I find only running 1 has worked out pretty well for me in most of the games that I've played. Would I bump it up to 2? Possibly. Just depends on how this build goes. Just bear with me and you'll see kind of what I'm running. Next up, where I kind of didn't go crazy though, is I'm still running 2 Perfect Ace. I feel 3 clogs a little bit, but 2 is a perfect number to be running, so I've got 2 Perfect Aces ready to go in the gate. Good combination with the UA Blockbacker as well as Goalkeeper. Next up, also not crazy, triple midfielder, because you want to see him as early as possible in combination with the UA Stadium, so that's pretty much your searching right there. And to round up the monsters, we've got 2 Speedroid Terratops. I used to run triple along with Menkos, but I found that wasn't really working out for me, so I just cut it down to 2 Terratops and pretty much left it at that. So that does it for the monsters. Now we go on to the spells. I've got 1 Book of Moon, double Dark Hole. I want to clear field as much as possible or make sure they can't get their plays. I do want to say I don't run Reigeki. If I do, I would probably take out a Dark Hole, put it in a Reigeki. So that's why I'm running 2 Dark Hole. Next up, I don't see a lot of people running this, and I guess I'm kind of glad that they're not, but personally I really like this card. That would be Shuffle Reborn. Basically, it's a faster Call of the Haunted that you can get a monster out from your graveyard to the field. Its effects are negated, but in UAs you don't really care because you're going to bounce it back in UAs to go for something else. Also, if you're kind of bricked, you can pretty much shuffle a card you control back into the deck by banishing it from the graveyard to draw a card, and then at the end of the turn, if you use that effect, you have to banish a card from your hand. So you kind of gamble, but most of the time it works out pretty well. I mean, you can just use it for the Reborn effect, which is good enough on its own. Next up, we've got 2 Terraformings, because you want to see that stadium as quickly as possible. I've got double Stormforth, because this gives you tribute fodder and you can use your opponent's monster. So you clear board and you get a monster. Just the one powered jersey. This card's really nice to have. Next up, triple signing deal. I've pretty much cut Rhoda out of this build because at one it pretty much doesn't do anything. I'd rather have the 3 signing deals. So just having no Rhoda, having more room to throw in more cards has pretty much worked out for me. Next up, round up the spells, triple stadium, because you want to see that as quickly as possible. That is what helps you run this deck pretty smoothly. Next up, the traps. Some of these are pretty standard, so you have your bottomless, you have your compulse, because you want to deal with that. Just coming out from Dimension of Chaos, 2 Grand Horns of Heaven. Basically, they go their main phase 1, they got nothing. Oh, go to battle phase, now they can't do anything. Or they go to main phase 2 and they do anything. Oh, they didn't set anything. Oh, guess what? Now it's the end of the turn. Sucks to be you. Just the 1 Mirror Force and 1 Time Space. The only reason I'm running this is because a buddy of mine gave them to me. So I said, you know what? I've got nothing better to run, so I'm just going to run those. Just the 1 Torrential and the 1 Warning. Again, because I have nothing better to run, so I figured why the hell not. And then triple UA penalty box. So this has a couple of utilizations. You can pitch it from hand for perfect aces effect and then search for either the field spell or the jersey or the signing deal. Or if you have it face down, you flip it and you banish an opponent's monster till their second end phase, which is a nice way to clear the board. So it has a lot of utility, and it's a good way to have your opponent analyze your back row and be like, crap, what am I going to have to deal with? So that's pretty much the deck. I don't run an extra deck because, well, I can't really afford an extra deck. But even if I could, I wouldn't really run too much of an extra deck. Maybe just a couple staples here and there. But for the most part, this is the build that I've got for UAs. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. And next time, I'm going to do a Synchron deck profile for you guys. So be on the lookout for that. And that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down or let me know any recommendations you might have. I don't have the camera yet, but I'm sure down the line somewhere I will get a camera and kind of go and look at maybe how I can better present the deck profile for you guys. I also want to make the announcement that replay videos might be coming back because I've been doing a little bit more on a YGO Pro. So doing some tag matches as well as doing 1v1 matches. So look forward to a lot of that. So hope you guys have a good one. And this is ThunderPrince09 signing out.